welcome to another episode of The Hot Corner. I'm your host, Otto Gomez, and I'm joined here today by Michael Jozwiak. Opening day is less than a week away, so let's talk about some final points before the season starts. Let's start talking about New York. With lots of questions surrounding the Yankees and the optimism surrounding the Mets, will this finally be the year the Mets overtake the Yankees and finish the season with more wins? Mike, what do you think?
It pains me to say it as a Yankees fan, but I think the Mets will be the best team in New York. They just have a ton of pitching. They have a lot more pitching than the Yankees do. Matt Harvey, it's only been spring training, but he looks to be back. His fastball is right up there. I think the Mets will have enough offense. I'm expecting a big year out of David Wright. He's been hitting the lights out of the baseball in spring training. A lot of their other hitters have been hitting well too, and like I said, just a ton of pitching. Bartolo Colon, Dylan G. I know they lost Zach Wheeler, but they just have other guys who can bring it up.
A lot of depth, no doubt.
Yep, and the Yankees just have too much questions. Tanaka, he looks good, but again, he's in the same boat as Matt Harvey. You don't know if he's gonna stay healthy the whole season. CC Sabathia has looked terrible, and just
he's hurt too.
Yeah,
so. And
it's just a lot of questions around the other Yankees hitters. Will Brian McCann be able to hit? Will Mark Teixeira be able to stay healthy?
Right, what type of impact is A-Rod going to have?
Exactly. The whole circus around A-Rod, will that be a distraction?
Absolutely, and I always think that optimism in youth is a lot better than questions surrounding the Yankees and the fact that they're an old team. So you always want to take youth over old team because they always surprise you. And I think just the Yankees are going to be very mediocre, and the Mets have a lot of potential. Matt Harvey is the guy. He started the All-Star game. The guy he can throw.
Exactly. I remember talking to my dad before, and Matt Harvey, he's the real deal. This guy can flat out pitch. Yeah. And I like what some of the moves some of the Yankees have made. They've gotten younger, but again, it's just question marks around those young guys. Yeah. Will Gregorius be able to take over Derek Jeter, be able to take over shortstop for Derek Jeter, who retired? They lost David Robertson in the bullpen. Will Betances be able to step up and take that closer role?
Yep. Yeah. No, everybody, you got really young guys who are unproven. You got really old guys who were in their prime 5-10 years ago. So there's nobody in the middle that is hitting their stride right now. So I think the Mets are going to be a much better team.
I think so, too.
This year. All right, let's move on to our second question. With spring training wrapping up, there's always a lot of discussion whether the players' numbers and performance and carry over into the regular season, or if what they do in the spring matters at all. So with that in mind, what is an important stat from spring training that will actually make a difference come the regular season? Mike, what do you think?
For me, I think a very important stat when it comes to spring training is on-base percentage, especially for a lot of these young guys.
Sure.
Because you can't put too much emphasis on batting average, home runs, RBIs, because not all the pitchers are at their strength. They're just warming up into the season. But if you can get on base as a young guy, that's very important, especially for your big hitters. If you can get on base, maybe steal some bases, score runs, that's going to be huge for your team and offense. And again, I don't put too much emphasis on pitching stats either, because you have a lot of young hitters too, who are going to be in the minor leagues at some point in the year. They're not going to be on a major league roster.
Yeah.
But as a hitter, if you can get on base, that's very huge for your team, especially for your big hitters to be able to drive them in.
Yeah, I think, absolutely, no doubt. I want to talk a little bit about individual players. A lot of bullpen guys who are unsure had a lot of lights out spring training, and that's something that really was good for them to improve their stock and to give them an ability to pitch in the show in the majors this season. Also,
it's just hard too, because you got to look at the hitters they're facing.
Absolutely,
a lot of these guys aren't going to be in the league at all.
Especially if you're pitching 7th, 8th inning, where all the regular players are already in the clubhouse. Chris Bryant, the big prospect for the Cubs, hit 9 home runs, led all of majors, and that's really big. He hit 420 something. 9 home runs, 15 runs batted in. That's incredible. And he's going to be up real quick as soon as they can. A-Rod had 7 walks, I saw the other day, which is really big. He had over 300, 3 home runs, tied for lead on the Yankees. So I think those are all very important stats to look for.
Without a doubt. Yeah, they're very important stats. But it's very important if you're seeing the baseball well as a hitter.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about your on-base percentage. You're drawing walks. You're seeing the baseball. The more you get on base, obviously, the better you're hitting and the better you're seeing the ball. So I think that's very important.
Absolutely. No, and spring training is about, like you said, seeing. You got to see. Stats don't really matter. You want guys, and you got to really pay attention to how they're doing. It's more of an eye test than in the regular season. The stats don't tell all.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So that'll do it for our first segment. After the break, we'll get into our rapid fire round. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Hot Corner. It's now time for a rapid fire round. We'll ask each other 3 questions and have 30 seconds to respond. Mike, we're going to start with your questions. First, who's your favorite to win the MVP in each league this year?
Well, the American League, I have Mike Trout. I think he's easily the best
doubt.
hitter in baseball. He is the face of Major League Baseball now. He's going to take over Derek Jeter in his role.
No doubt.
He can do it all. He can hit home runs. He can steal bases. He scores runs. He hits for average. He's the definition of a five-tool player. And in the National League, I'm going with Andrew McCutchen, who is also the definition of a five-tool player. He can do it all. He can hit for power. He can hit for average. Gets on base. He steals bases.
Don't forget they're fielding everything.
Yep, they're Gold Glove caliber players
Right.
in center field, which is one of the more important positions I think in Major League Baseball. I think those two are the favorite. Especially both teams, I think, have a lot of help around them, so they'll be able to drive in more runs, hit more home runs, and I think they're the favorites.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, second question: which big name player will be traded first?
This is, for me, a toss-up between Cole Hamels of the Philadelphia Phillies, because they're clearly in rebuilding mode. He is the one big-name player for them, and it's clear that the Phillies are in rebuilding mode. Another player I have is Dylan Gee of the Mets, who has been the talk of off-season trades for a while now. I think he's a decent pitcher, but again, the Mets just have so much going for them. They have Matt Harvey, Zach Wheeler when he comes back from injury, Bartolo Colon. They have the one young guy whose name I'm forgetting right now. Yeah, but they have a lot of Syndergaard, yep, that's it. They have a ton of pitching, so I think they could easily move him.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. And I think Cole Hamels, that whole saga hopefully will end and the Phillies can start rebuilding. All right, so third question. Which team is going to be the worst in baseball this season?
Well, I kind of answered my own question already, but I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah,
my producer's not going to like that, but yeah, this is just a team they're in rebuilding mode, like I said earlier. The Hamels is really the one big name player. Cliff Lee is hurt, like we don't know.
He's probably done.
Exactly, we don't know if he's going to be the same. He hasn't been the same for like a
Right.
year now. And I can't honestly. Brian Howard's in decline. He's like the one hitter I can name on the Phillies, honestly. Like I wish them well. My producer's giving me a look right now, but I think they're going in the right direction. Hopefully they can turn it around quick.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And Cole Hamels is that last. Cole Hamels, I guess, Ryan Howard too. That last piece from their franchise, that they had. I guess 5-6 years ago now when they won the championship.
Yeah. All right, Otto, for your first question, who is the favorite in the American League this season?
I really think that the Angels are a very solid team, that they're going to be able to go to the World Series. Because who else is a very strong team in the American League? You got the Tigers, who are perennial division champs. You got the Indians right behind them, and then you got the Red Sox in the East. And I don't think those teams can compete with the Angels. Got solid pitching. Won 100 games last year, 98 games, something like that. And I think Mike Trout has come more into his own. He'll do better in the playoffs this year. And I really think that they'll get there.
I think this is the first time in a while that I remember the National League being a lot better than the American League. Like you said, the Angels I think are the one favorite, and a lot of the other teams have question marks. You mentioned Detroit, but they lost Max Scherzer.
Right.
Miguel Cabrera's getting older. Like they're losing some guys. The East is kind of wide open right now. I think the Red Sox are one of the favorites, but they still have some question marks too.
Sure.
All right, for your second question, Otto, you know how I feel about this, but what do you expect from Mike Trout this season?
I expect him. I expect him to be better than what he already is.
That's unbelievable to think right now. He could be better.
Isn't it his fourth year? Finally, after winning his MVP, third or fourth year. I really think he can get better. He didn't hit he only hit like 287 last year.
That's still very good.
Right?
I'll
Isn't
take
it
that
incredible?
any day.
I think he can hit over 300. He can have a bigger impact. What I really want to see is him doing better in the playoffs. That's very important. You can win your MVP. It's like Clayton Kershaw. You win the MVP during the regular season, but then you get to the playoffs and you're just choking.
Yeah.
I want him to be just as strong a player. That's great. You'll win the MVP again. But I really want him to be a better playoff player.
I think that's the big question with a lot of these guys. That's been the question for A-Rod for a long
Right.
time.
It was until 2009 when he finally showed up.
Yeah, he finally showed up. But I think Mike Trout will improve, and we just got to see in the postseason, which I think he's too good of a player not to do.
Yeah.
All right, and Otto, for your final question, what player do you expect to have a great bounce-back season after coming off injury?
I really think that Miguel Cabrera will be a very, very strong player this year. I know you said he's got no, and he is. He's over 30 now. He's 32, 33. But he is still a great hitter, and he hasn't declined through regular means. He was injured last year, and he still put up. He still hit 25 home runs. That doesn't happen. And I expect him to hit over 30 home runs, drive in 100 runs, hit 300 like he always does. And I really think that he'll bounce back, have a very strong season. He's very important for the Tigers, like you said. They lost Scherzer. And they still have David Price and maybe Verlander, because you never know.
Verlander hasn't been that good lately either, so it's he's got to be the guy I think to carry that team. He's getting older, but he can still put up numbers.
Yeah. All right, so that'll do it for a rapid fire round. After the break, we'll wrap things up with our division predictions. Stay with us. Welcome back. Since the season officially starts on Sunday with opening night between the Cubs and the Cardinals, it's now time for us to give our division predictions. Mike, we'll start with you. We talked about, who did we agree on? We agreed on the Angels, the Tigers.
And I think the AL East is a little more wide open with that. I'm not fully convinced with what the Red Sox have done.
Okay.
I do like the Orioles. I think this is a team that in a division where the pitching isn't quite as strong as it used to be, I think they have the best offense. Adam Jones is one of the most underrated center fielders in the game. Chris Davis, I know he's had a down year, but he can still hit for power. Nick Markakis is still a solid hitter. I think they have a lot of good hitters on this team, and I think they can really, be able to outslug all the other teams in the AL East.
Yeah.
I still think it's a wide open division, but I'm going to go with the Orioles.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to disagree a little with you there. I think the Red Sox with Pablo and the new Cuban guy they got, who can do it all. I think they'll be able to win the division. Also, I think it's very important to notice that the Indians and the Mariners are going to be either they're going to win the division, or it's going to be in the wild card. They're very, very strong teams that are definitely going to be in the hunt all year. The Mariners are a very, very strong team. The Vegas odds have them as the number 2 most likely team to win the World Series.
Yeah, for me, in the Central, I do have the Tigers, like I said. The West, I have the Angels. My 2 wild card teams, I have the Chicago White Sox. I really like what they've done this offseason. They fixed the back end of their bullpen, signing David Robertson. They signed some nice hitters. It's amazing what signing a power hitting first baseman last offseason can do. Like
Jose Abreu.
Jose Abreu, yeah. Like he's one of the best young hitters in the game right now. I really like what they're doing right now. And my other wild card spot, I do like Seattle. I think they have the pitch in. Robinson Cano is one of the best hitters in the game, one of the best second basemen in the game. And I think they'll be able to sneak their way in. And they'll be able to compete, I think, with the Angels for a little bit in the West.
No doubt. All right, so let's move on to National League. I think the Nationals are a lock in the East.
Yeah.
What about the other 2? What do you think?
Yeah, like we said, the Nationals, they're one of the favorites to win the World Series, I think. The Central, I like the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals, they still have one of the best pitching in the game. They have an offense, I think, now that can kind of keep up with their pitching.
Sure.
And in the West, I like the Dodgers. I think they're still the favorite. I like what San Diego did. It's amazing how quickly they turned from like a stellar team to a team that could contend in the West. But I think the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher in the game, without a doubt. I think him alone is enough to carry that team.
Yeah, 20 wins will get
to the wild card spot. The division title.
The division title, yeah.
Yeah, and for the wild card spots, I have San Diego actually.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's going to come down between the West. I think it's going to be San Diego and the Giants.
And the Giants.
Yeah, I really like the NL West this year. I think it's really one of the more competitive divisions in this league. The Giants, of course, coming off a World Series title, they're going to be around. I like what San Diego did with their offseason moves. So
yeah, and they're a strong team. They didn't even win 90 games last year, and look, they won the World Series.
Exactly.
I think the Cubs, who I'm really rooting for, after so many years of mediocrity and just the curse of Steve Bartman. I think if they don't win, I like the Cardinals. The Pirates are a strong team.
Pirates too. That's another team that'll contend for the wild card.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs make the wild card or even win the division.
I'm not quite sold on the Cubs yet. We
really
got to see what these young kids can do in the major league level. I know some of these guys have had great spring trainings.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we need to see it in the regular season, so I'm not quite sold yet. But yeah, I mean, Cubs fans have something to be excited about for once.
But John Lester can carry them.
He can,
For now. All right, so that'll do it for another episode of The Hot Corner. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, if you're interested in joining LTV, like us on Facebook or email us at ltv@tcnj.edu. For Mike Jozwiak, I'm Otto Gomez. Have a great opening day.